Global recession is coming. Well, that's what people say, but what's actually happening? According to the IMF, global recession refers to a condition when there is a significant, widespread, and prolonged downturn in economic activity for 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. The economists through the journal said that global recession is inevitable in 2023. On the other hand, the International Monetary Fund or IMF mentioned that the worst is yet to come. All of this headline news could only mean one thing. Is global recession real? Or is it just some kind of speculation? Domino theory is often used to explain how an economic problem in one country can spread like a contagion to similar countries. The first domino effect was the pandemic. This event impacts the hampered cash flow transaction, which led to the shutdown of economics worldwide. In order to keep the money from alive, America decided to print a lot of money, which led to the second domino effect, inflation and tightening. The massive amount of money worldwide increased the price of goods, and this is the reason why Jerome Powell, the Fed, decided to increase the interest rate to 4.6% in 2023. This policy could reduce public demand and slow the country's economic growth. The last domino effect is the war. The disruption caused by the Russian and Ukrainian war had a negative impact on the stability of energy and food supplies globally. Harvard economist Jason Feuerman mentioned that Russia is a big gas station. Almost every country in the world depends on oil and gas from Russia, and the way Russia is limiting their source of energy to the world makes the food crisis is getting real.
So, can Indonesia relax in the face of a possible global recession?
Currently, Indonesia's relative strong economic condition is indicated by the Indonesia capital market circumstances, which is in situation of foreign investment, capital inflow, stable foreign direct investment, and investment climate that remains investment grade. Supported by active fiscal and monetary policies that are considered synergistic, it is hoped that the impact of recession and global crisis not to be extreme. Although not directly affected, but as a developing country, Indonesia is certainly affected by other countries that have a major influence on the world economy. Some of the impact that could happen in Indonesia include the increasing burden
on the people's economy due to rising price of goods and services, often demands economic stimulus to maintain purchasing power. As a result, high inflation usually not a trigger drastic change in monetary policy, but also fiscally. In addition, inflation also often disrupts the tax revenue cycle. This is because the increasing economic burden due to rising price of goods and services often force business actors to postpone paying their taxes. Because the recession will affect Indonesia's international trade, tax revenue from sectors related to export-import activities will be depressed. Moreover, recession may result in a decline in tax revenue such as VAT. This is because VAT has a very strong correlation with economic condition.
After knowing what Indonesia may face in the following period of time, now the question is, how should Indonesia respond? We're going to see the response through two perspectives, through the government lens and also through the civilian lens. In response to the probability of global recession, the government should implement fiscal strategies to achieve tax revenue targets and reallocate the budget for strategic economic activities, such as maintaining the effectiveness of the implementation of the harmonization of tax regulation law in order to maintain the trend of increasing tax revenue. Implementation of new regulations are expected to be implemented effectively in building a solid fiscal foundation. For the second is extensification and intensification as a form of exploring potential for strengthening the tax base and increasing taxpayer compliance. Extensification can be done by updating the Compliance Risk Management or CRM application and core tax system. The application of ID number to tax identification number is one of the right steps to strengthen the ongoing tax administration reform. The adjustment of the progressive income tax rate cluster is one of the good intensification steps that is expected to provide more tax justice.
The third fiscal strategy is to provide fiscal incentives for strategic economic activities that have a strong multiplier effect on the economy. This aims to help increasing public consumption, followed by an increase in tax revenues that may help in financing government spending to meet people's needs, while also making the wheels of economy run. The fourth one is optimizing digital transaction taxes. The COVID-19 pandemic has made the people more literate about technology, so the government can optimize digital transaction taxes. In addition, VAT revenue has the potential to become an excellent source of revenue. In response to face Indonesia's economic slowdown due to the export sector, the government should reallocate the budget, especially to provide subsidies and assistance on the consumption side. In fact, the government has taken some actions regarding this prevention. through the civilian's lens, the first thing we can do is to stay liquid and low-risk assets by saving the assets on investments that are not fluctuating and have no lock-up period. Second one, we have to plan our debt and optimize cash flow in order to minimize expenses and to pay off debts. And lastly, we have to protect ourselves by allocating assets to an emergency fund and insurance.
Robert Foster Bennett said, "As sure as the spring will follow the winter."
Prosperity and economic growth will follow recession.
Thank you.